Hello everyone. So in this entire series of how to write for premier journals, we have already covered what are premier journals, why manuscripts fail, what are the expectations whenever we talk about the premier journals. So we have covered the entire anatomy of the article, covering every section, that is how to write an art title, how to write abstract, how to write a compelling introduction, followed by the theoretical underpinning. We have discussed that in very detailed. We have discussed how to write a rigorous methodology, how to clearly present the findings, how to write in the discussion, a strong conclusion, how to accurately and completely do the referencing, not to miss on any part. Today, we are closing off this series with the last video of this entire playlist, that is how to uh, work on appendices. So I'm not sure how many of us know about appendices. They are very critical aspects whenever we talk about the research articles, because you might have seen the thesis in the dissertation, we attach the appendices in the end. What about research articles? We all know that the research articles have word limitations, right? So, and the research articles, do we need to, or do we actually attach the appendices with the research article? The answer is absolutely yes. And it's very important. It always create a positive impact when we always attach the relevant critical files with our research article. A few journals may publish it, and a few journals do not consider them for their hard copy publications, but they always publish it online in their soft copy publications. So it is very important to include the appendices if you feel attaching the appendices, or if there are any relevant file which you have prepared, any relevant table structure which you have prepared as a background of your research, then you should be including them and attach them as appendices or web appendices. So the moment you will name the file as web appendices or web appendix, the author and the editor will come to know that this is a supporting file. So they will take a call whether they want to and how they want to publish that. So the appendices always uh, gives us, or gives a positive impact, as I have already uh, stated, because it's these this acts as a supplementary material while the review. So I, even in my research article, I always state it as appendix A, appendix B, appendix C. So the reviewer can go back and check whether I have actually done that work or not, or the moment he sees, or the reviewer sees the entire Excel file, they come to know that how exactly I have executed that, right? So it always brings in credibility, uh, and it always enable the reviewers to scrutinize our methodological depth. It also offers the comprehensive data presentation, which sometimes we don't want to include in our research article, or we cannot include in our research article because of the word limitations, right? So it always signals the professionalism. It always brings in and shows your preparedness for the peer review process, because it's important. It always strengthens the manuscript's value. For example, in the methodologies like meta-analysis, such background work is very important, and whenever the review sees that, it always create a positive impact. So that's why the appendices is important. Let's have a look what exactly they are and what approach we can adopt. So many premier journals have strict page or word count limit. So especially in, let's say for example, in Emerald, or for Emerald strictly stick to word count limitations, plus minus 8,000 words. Why? Because most of the Emerald journals publish in print form as well. So in print form, if they will start publishing the appendices, it will be a bit costly for them and not sustainable as well. So in that case, if we want to actually share the supporting backstage material or supporting supplementary material, what should we do? Attach them as appendices or web appendices. So what MRAL will do, they will publish your appendices in web publication. So as such, authors may strategically devote useful content that may not necessarily espouse new knowledge as appendices. For example, the interview guide. Like, for example, what all questions we have asked for the interviewers. What is the questionnaire which we have used for the quantitative data analysis, right? And the detailed background of the performance analysis of the review studies. So, always the files which you feel they might not be very important to bring in the research article, but attaching them in the appendices will not only help the reviewers and the editors but also the future researchers to actually see what kind of questions you have asked with your respondents, what kind of questionnaire you have adopted. So a detailed breakdown, and I personally also refer to the appendices because it really helps me understand the entire process, the entire backstage process. Sometimes we just read the article and we are confused at some stage that okay, suddenly what happened there. So the referring to the appendices actually help us in understanding as a researcher that how the researcher has, or the researchers or the authors of that article have executed that. So let's have a look at some examples. So again, which journal? Okay, so Journal of Business Research at the top. Let's refer to the same journal. So I'm just choosing the journal, whatever is coming first. There is no standard rule, but yeah, we always focus in our videos on A category journals. That's what is you must have noticed. All right, so we are talking about references, right, or appendices. Let's check some latest issues. Coming to this article, let's go. So can we see in this article, Appendix 1 is overview of antecedents and outcomes. So can we see the author has attached this table here? Why not in the main article? Because of the word limitations. Probably the author feel like other tables are important to include in the article. This is a background work which he or she has done or the group of people have done. So they have attached it as an appendices. Appendices 2, again the studies on anti-brand communities. So they felt like it is not important to include it in the research article, but they have attached it as an appendix. As we are discussing this, let's also discuss the data availability statement. So we always have to share this statement whenever we are submitting to the Premier Journal, everyone, that what is the status of your data. So whether you have a permission to share that data or not. So sometimes we call it as okay, we can produce the data once requested or if requested. And sometimes we strictly do not have a permission. So we have to write in one line what is the status of data availability. References we have covered. Vitae is the author's short biography or short introduction. So this is also asked whenever we are submitting to the Premier Journals. So make it ready, always ready in a separate Word file. So we have to attach it, not with the manuscript. Please note, a strict no, not to the manuscript. Manuscript is always anonymous. Okay, always keep these as a separate file, Word file, and attach it as a separate file named as author biography or author vitae. Okay, so these are, we have covered the entire outline which is being shown over here. I hope we have not missed any in this entire series. All right, declaration of competing interest. This is also a Word document. Sometimes for elsewhere it's a separate one. So the moment we will click on declaration, you will get a link. So the moment you will click on that link, automatically you will give a declaration that there are no competing financial interest. You can also attach it as a separate file wherein you as a group of author, or we as a group of authors, says that there are no competing financial interest among us, and we have to give it. So we have covered abstract, we have covered introduction, theoretical, conceptual. So we have all covered this. Funding information, yes, this is also very, very important, everyone. So whenever we are writing a research article, we have to clearly indicate who has funded our research project. Okay, so if you are own writing your research article and there is no funding authority, you have to give in a statement, and there is a checklist while you will submit on any of the platform, whether it's Elsewhere, Emerald, Springer, Wiley, Taylor and Francis. You'll be asked while submitting, you have to click if it is and no one has funded your research, just click on no funding information or no one has funded. But if someone has funded, we have to give the details of who has funded our research article or research project. So this is about funding information, and all these things we have to keep as a separate Word file, okay, and named as in the same way. Coming to the credit authorship, so this is the taxonomy, the author credit taxonomy, wherein you have to clearly indicate. So this is very, very important thing nowadays, because if it is this article is written by many authors, let's have a look. So there are 3 authors, okay. So what exactly is author's taxonomy? Where is, just a moment. Yes, so in the author taxonomy, we clearly indicate what work has been done by which author. Okay, so let's say the first author has done the writing, original draft, visualization, methodology, investigation, and formal data curation and conceptualization. What the other author has done, what the other author has done. Why we do it? Because it should be clearly indicated that who has done what, so that the proper credit can be given to the author. So this liberty is given to the corresponding author on the platform. So the corresponding author always have to tick for every single author, because they are interacting with the platform, so they will come to know what exactly is happening, and they will get a checklist or the checkbox to check in. So the moment it will come to, let's say, Professor Dong, so what Professor Dong has done, and then he will click on the checklist related to writing, project administration, conceptualization. Then it will show a checklist for the next author, and this is how it happens. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing nowadays, because let's say if someone is very good at this methodology being adopted in this, let's have a look which methodology they are adopting. Structural equation modeling, yes. So by giving this author credit, Professor Dong as well as Professor Cleopatra, both are having a command on structural equation modeling, and they have done the methodology. So probably in future they can be approached for the similar work. So this gives some clarity related to it. So this is how it actually differentiates the contribution. It gives the due credit to all the authors separately. Coming to the declaration, we have discussed this. Appendices, that's what we are discussing. Data availability done, references done, VT done. All right, let's have a look at some more articles so that I can give you some more insights. So that's how the appendices are attached. Whenever you are in doubt that these files are not that much mandatory to include in the article, and if the number of words are going up, you may attach them in the references. Any article we can take it. Let's have a look at this. Oh, just a moment, I have to click on this. Yes, so let's have a look at the anatomy of this article. Abstract, introduction, literature review, implications, conclusion. Can we see in the discussion they followed the implication followed by conclusion? They have highlighted limitations and future research. That's what we were discussing in the last video. Credit the authorship we have already covered. this also. Let's have a look at appendix. So this is the appendix which they have attached as a downloadable file. Let's have a look. So always prepare the separate Word files. Okay. So this way we'll be able to cater that separately. Yes. So this is their appendix. Okay. So they might be doing on some AI project or something like that. So they have done like with every prompt what outcomes were coming. Then the demographic profile. So how their questionnaire was executed. Amazing. Can we see how they have attached and how wonderfully they have stated what all questions they have asked. And this is the role of appendices. I feel probably in other language as well. So I hope this has given us a clear idea what should go under the appendices section. References covered, vitae also covered. All right. So I hope everyone, this gives us an idea about how critical the appendices are, and especially in case of when we don't want to include that in the research article, but we also want to support our article with in a robust way, then web appendices is the right place wherein we can actually attach all the supporting files which we have anonymously. Remember that as we are finishing in, just a final statement, we don't have to mention our name as a researcher in any of the file except for the title page, because in the title page we do mention, or in the author biography. Except for that, avoid or a strict no to mentioning of the author name in any of the Word files. So whenever we are submitting in cover letter, in the end we can also mention, but apart from this, a strict no to any of the Word file or any of the author information. Everyone, if you are submitting to any of the Premier Journal, never ever do this mistake, because mentioning the name is a critical thing, and we are supposed to submit all the documents anonymously. So unnecessarily our article will come back, and it also hampers our credibility as a researcher, as an author. So here we close the entire series, how to publish for Premier Journals. If you are new on the channel, please go back and check the entire series. It is a comprehensive way with all the references with which you can get helped as a budding researcher, or even if sometimes as an experienced researcher, we gain a lot of knowledge via the collaborations and co-creations. If you have any ideas, feedbacks, comments, questions, please feel free to share either by my email ID mentioned on the channel or via the comments. Thank you so much everyone.